Hello, everyone. Um, I'm sorry I just had to come back live. I'm sorry for I was on live earlier and then I had a call. I think some of you saw the fact that I was on call earlier. Thanks for joining, Rusty. Yeah, I just came in, not quite long, but immediately I was done having the call. My network kind of broke, and so that was the situation. My network broke, but immediately I went outside, and I was just trying to give you guys an hint of what was actually going on. This is my phone, so there's no way I can. There's a lady. There's a lady, a Nigerian, who is in the diaspora, who just came back from the US. From the US. And please give me a few seconds. Let me just watch some things here, and I'll be back. Just a few seconds. I'm here with you. I think it is. Yeah. So I don't know her from anywhere. I don't know her from anywhere, but there were few things that happened. You know, she bought about few couple of properties within the estate, and right now she's having a little bit of issues with her spouse. And then the organization are taking advantage of the issue between she and her spouse to seize our own property. And sometimes you will be asking a question like, how possible is it for you to buy a property? And they bought about 3 properties. And the organization, because she's having disputes with her spouse, and her spouse is still out of the country. And so they are taking advantage of her, and now they are seizing one of the property from her, and they took some couple of money from her, and they've not given her the money. And they have not given her the money. So the best thing, when I heard about the situation, I had to, yeah, if you brought the property, the spouse should have nothing to do with it. Yes. She used that money. The money came from her account to purchase the property. But the man is probably manipulating the marketers, the people she got the property from. And so they've been frustrating the woman, making some videos like they are giving the property out, going to our house and burglarizing our house, taking things away from our property and the rest of it. So, and I knew they are kind of influential on most of the law enforcement. So I decided to go to the commissioner of police. So we wrote some petitions. We had to do some things, even to the Ministry of Justice and the rest of it. So I'm just helping her to work around the case so that she would get everything resolved by the higher authority. And I'm taking it to a place where they cannot actually influence with their money and the rest of it. So I was live when I was speaking to you guys. The call from the lawyer I was using came in, and she was in the state CID. And so she had to call me, and they gave me some little breakdown of some things. And so I had to go meet her. But when I went to her house, she's not there. So that was why I had to go outside, and then I'm back in. So I'm really sorry that I was on live and immediately I went off. Sometimes I love putting my phone on airplane mode. I actually forgot to put my phone on airplane mode. If not, they would have sent it through WhatsApp, not just a call that would distract everything that I was doing. So please do not be offended. Do not be offended. I think it's, I don't know. I just find it's pleasurable for me when I see stuff like this, and I can just find a way to do one of few things. Yes, ma'am. Miss Annie Rome, welcome back. Yeah. If a male voice is worth more than money, women would never be able to be truly successful. Okay. If a male's voice is worth more than money, women will never be able to be truly successful. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Miss Eniron, I am actually apologizing for the way I hung up the live section earlier. I was saying I had few issues. There's a neighbor of mine who is from the diaspora. She's a Nigerian who is from the diaspora. She's having some issues with her property and they are manipulating her. So I took it to some higher authorities because I know they are influential on other authorities. I had to take it to other authorities and to the commissioner of police and the rest of it. So they gave me back a call that they have accepted what do they call it? A petition and the rest of it. So they needed few things. So I had to go and meet her to arrange some of the document of her property so we can help her handle the case and she'll be fine. So that was the reason why I hung up the other time. And the network was kind of a little bit shaky also. So that's just it. So we were having, they've taken, they wanted to give her one property. They asked her to pay extra money. She paid extra money. And then they refused to give her the property. She added about 20 million naira. We have all the receipts. We have some of those things here. 20 million. After she bought a property for 12 million and she has renovated it with extra 3 million. And then they asked her to bring extra 20 million to give her a different property because the one she saw, she did not like it. And then she paid for that one. They refused to give her a particular property. And then she said, okay, give me the old property that was bad. Let me just fix that one and refund back my 20 million. They refused to give her 20 million. They gave her 13.5 million and they held back, is it 13.5? And they held back 6.5 million. And her property again that she has, that has been allocated to her, they still keep disturbing her on that property, burglarizing her house, taking cement, taking things out of her house, giving the property to somebody else. These are the kind of, sometimes these are the kind of terrible organizations you would see here in Nigeria if you're not careful or you don't know what exactly how to tackle those individuals. And it's, sometimes it's really terrible. And if you don't know your way around, they are just going to influence every other law enforcement. And I know a couple of things that are actually going on, but I just decided to be silent and let's just see how it goes. I believe at the end of the day, she will get whatever she needs back. Rusty says, her own spouse, by the sound of it, has more backing than the woman who bought the property. Yes. African, we have this mentality that there's this poor mentality we have about man and woman. If a woman buys something and she has a success, let her be in charge of her success. But sometimes when you are married, but our spouse is actually in the US. Our spouse is in the US controlling what is happening here in Nigeria. So some of the organizations is a friend to them, is a friend to those people in the organization. So he's manipulating the woman just to be able to, you know, sometimes some men feel like maybe a woman wants to go away from them because she's financially okay, or she can survive without him. So what they try to do is they try to take her wealth and everything she has away from her, so that she'll be stranded, and if she has nowhere to go, she would rather want to stick back with her husband. Rusty says, wow, that's roughly £5,000. Yes, nowhere in the Western world would a property be so cheap. They should be encouraging her. Ah, so you see, that's why Nigeria is kind of somehow. If you make some money from there, just imagine what you can do. The £5,000, I don't know which one you're referring to. Is it the 30 million? Is it the 14 million or something like that? Because that's and it's a 3-bedroom. It's a 3-bedroom apartment. Sometimes Africa can be a blessing. This is madness. She invests and they would prefer she goes back to America with her husband. Madness. Yeah. Yes. You know, some people out of the country, most Nigerians out of the country, after a period of time, they want to come back home. After a period of time, they want to come back home. But sometimes, if you're not good on ground, you might be taken advantage of. So that's the situation. 12 million naira is roughly £5,000. Yes. Our cheapest property here is £70,000. Wow. Wow. So that means if I have £70,000, how many property am I going to have? Three-bedroom apartment am I going to have? Okay, Nigeria should be welcoming her with red carpets. Yeah, maybe you're right, but that's almost £70,000. That should be almost like 10 3-bedroom apartment. 10 3-bedroom apartment. You know, with I'm just talking about with the finishing and touching and the rest of it. Yes, it might be 15, but I'm talking about the standard, because when you get those property, you have to do some finishing and you have to do some touching and the rest of it. So, but 12 million, the property is okay. It has the ties, it has everything you need. But you know, we have to dig our own borehole. We have to set up electricity. Some people would like to change the doors and few things, you know, chandelier. Some of us would like to do a little bit of screeding and the rest of it. Like all my house, I had to do a different screeding. So I'm like 10 3-bedroom apartments. That's what the £70,000 will be able to afford. So let me just quickly touch back on the conversation we're having earlier before the call came in. Renovation here can cost anywhere between £15,000 to £30,000. Wow. 100,000. Oh. Anyone says our cheapest year is maybe 100,000 US dollars, and that house would need work. Wow. You see, this is the reason why. This is the reason why we are in Africa, or we don't want to come to the US. But it's almost the same thing in certain areas. And it's just that I don't like doing showing off my properties and the rest of it. It makes me feel like I'm showing off. You'll be amazed if I do a video of my apartment and some of my properties, and I tell you how much I get those properties. You'll be so amazed. Some of them in a very good location. One of my property, a land I bought, and the land right now cost about 3.5 million naira at this moment. Even 4.5 million now, or 4 million. Let me just say 4 million. That's what you get it. But I got that property for 100, compared to dollar now, that's $120. I bought a land in a very good location, very visible location, very big location for $120. A plot of land, $120. Now the property, that's about 250,000 naira, 230,000 naira. That was when I got the property. That's how I bought the property. And now the property, the land itself, I'm not talking about the building and the structure of what I've done. The land itself cost right now 4 million naira. So if you can have few money that you make out there, and you can invest that money in Africa, you might do a lot. Like currently, I'm kind of raising some funds, and the purpose behind me raising those funds is like I want to get like about 3 acres of land in a place, and everything it's going to cost me is about maybe roughly $900 to $1,000 if mixed up. Maybe $900 to $1,000. I'll get 3 acres of land. And the purpose behind that 3 acres of land is I want to actually build agriculture, more turkey farming, more plantations, more corn, bitter colas, cashew, cola nuts, pawpaw, fruits, orange, so that every time I harvest, I just solely want to have few people I pay to work a little bit, and every time I harvest, I can give that money out. I can give the food out to people in the community. So people, sometimes you might see people who are hungry and the rest of it, but I'm like, okay, if I can just have thousands and baskets of things, why not just use that to distribute it to people? And more of these things would not need, the advantage about most of these things is it's not what I need to call a farmer, or I need to gather too many farmers. I just need to employ maybe 2 or 3 people, and they are going to wet the ground, pour water, and it's a fertile land. It's a fertile land. So it's really going to save a lot of people's life if I can just do that. Oh. Kolade, how are you? Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Excuse me, sir. Is it good to bath 3 times in a day?
Yes, it is. It's good to take your bath 3 times in a day. Who told you that?
My brother.
Your brother. So you want to take your bath? Go and shower now.
I want to go and I want to bathe in the evening. I like bathing in the evening every time, even in the morning.
Okay. How was school today?
It was fine, sir.
I'll help you set up the DVD in your room. So if you want to watch film, you can put it on. There's a button close to it when you turn on your TV. Maybe later, I'm on live now. I'll come to your room. I'll show you.
Daddy, I want to stay.
You want to stay at home? And just do your assignment. I'll be with you later. Just give me like maybe 30 minutes. No, I'm here under the tree. Oopsie. Uh, uh. So those are part of the things I love to do. For example, something like this. I think we're already in the season of apple at the moment. Um, Let me read what you say. Okay, he said America has bigger houses than the UK and bigger gardens, but many of the houses are not built as strong as UK ones. Okay, and Ron says, right, Rusty, they will build a 3,000 US dollar house and have the inspector go through it, and you would need an additional 100,000 to fix the issues. I realized something the other day, and I was annoyed because I should have realized years ago. In the West, we are told we have a housing shortage. I finally realized this though. Okay, houses are easy to build. Okay, blah. What's going? Okay. Houses are easy to build, but the more houses that get built will reduce the value of other properties because supply and demand will be met. Absolutely. Government wants a housing shortage, and that is really rather sad. I've given this one's food. So, for example, this is a season for apple, for the apple trees. So it's so surprising. These things you're seeing, all these things you're seeing are apples. In the next, in a couple of months, maybe 1 month or 2 months from now, you're going to see thousands of apples will be coming out from this tree. Thousands of apples will be coming out from this tree. One of my concept of agriculture is most of the things I decide to, nurture, apart from the turkey and chicken and few other things. Yeah. Apart from the turkey, I love any land I get for the purpose of agriculture. I build trees there rather than just plant seed that you just harvest after a short period of time. That's one of my turkey disturbing. So pardon the noise. So for example, like if I plant, I like the long-term things than the short-term things, because the long-term things, if I plant 10 trees of orange, we are going to be having, if not a million harvests of oranges every season of orange. And then I can decide to give out few for sale. Then I can give out 50% to people who I just want to give it to, maybe people in the community or neighbors. Not necessarily because some people are broke, but I just think it's just an act of abundance. Nature give me these things, not necessarily that I have to invest that much or keep working every single day. The moment some of these things you have them, they would produce fruit for you every season. You have to take care of them for maybe a couple of 6 months, and after 6 months, they can survive on their own. So for the next 10 years, you are just going to keep harvesting. But some people, based off the idea of they need money, they just go into something that they can sell short period of time, and then they want the next one. And the rest says, hello, I'm talking once his time is spotlight. And next, okay, Russell says my next day, the neighbor from when I was a child had an apple tree. We used to sneak over and take the apples. An elderly couple, they liked it when we took the apples. Trust me, trust me, I like it when, you know, people do not understand the concepts of happiness. If I don't know what's going on, the weather is fine, and I actually subscribed not quite long, but the network seems to be bad today. So I was referring something about the concept of happiness. The concept of happiness is when we feel joy in our life. And I'm not talking about happiness because happiness is something that looks like an immediate emotion, but joy is a different one. And joy is, I see joy as a long-term thing. I see happiness as a short-term thing. Now, I could be wrong about the definitions. But in my mind, how I define happiness is happiness tends to be a short-term thing and joy tends to be a long-term thing. And what it means for you to have joy is that you have a life that is stable. And for you to have a life that is stable, you must have a life that is stable and it flourishes and it's successful. Now, for success, there are different interpretations to success. But for you to flourish, we are just looking at it from the concept of like ocean or from the concept of like sea. When you look at ocean and you look at sea, these particular oceans and sea are like things that lives in abundance. Unlike the river can dry off when situations get tough. But unlike a sea and of like an ocean, it is difficult for an ocean to dry off. It is difficult for a sea to dry off. So these particular things have what we call abundance inside of them. Now, what I mean by that particular statement, I'm just trying to piece it up together. And sometimes my words, I might not be able to articulate myself properly, but I would love if you can help me digest it and pay attention so you might know exactly what I mean. And what I mean is, if you live in the spirit of abundance, then it means that you don't lack. Whatever you get is just an addition to you. Are we there? So the concept is like, if I have couples of apple trees and I have couple of oranges and I have couple of animals and I have couple of things that I can always have in their right season, and I can share it with my people, with the people that I love. Yes, I'm going to make some money with it. Maybe I do a little bit of business by the side, but 50% for me tends to be my own tithe. And the 50% has to go to the society, has to go to the community. Mostly I will use the word community because it will be the amount of the people around me, both those who are, first of all, it will have to go to those who have challenges, those who are going through their struggle. And then those who actually have, they are not begging for it. They don't really need it, but I just have to give to them out of abundance that I have accumulated. Now, when you understand that every season of your life, there's a season where things come out and you have the opportunity to reach out to people in your life, and you are not working for these things, God and nature itself is producing these things for you to consume, for you to make money off, and for you to be of a blessing to other people's soul. Now, that is what we call joy. Happiness might be, oh, I just have a job. Happiness might be, oh, I just get a paycheck. But joy, when I see people and they look at me and when they greet me, and I realize that every single time of my life, as much as I'm living, as much as I have the grace to be alive, I would always be a blessing to these people as much as I'm within that environment. And perhaps I teach my children and certain people in the community to emulate the same thing to show love among themselves. So I think when I go back and I sleep at night, it gives me joy. Sometimes I might be on my bed and there's a way I always roll my body on the bed, and every single time it is from the, sometimes I'm always being grateful from the space of abundance. And when you're coming from the space of abundance, you feel joy. When you're coming from the space of excitement, you feel happiness. I could be wrong with those definitions. I could be wrong, but that's my perception. Russell say a channel I moderate on went from 5K subs to 10K subs in 5 days. The host was so happy and thankful because when I'm moderating, he can concentrate on making content and his channel has exploded from it. Yeah. Anyone says, amen, brother. That is what tithing was about anyway. Yeah. Not just giving money to a building. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think if you're doing if you're paying, if you see that as a tithe, as giving back to humanity, it kind of shapes your mind. And that was what I was referring to. Part of the subject I was referring to earlier when I was talking about does settling equal suffering? Does settling equal suffering? Rusty says happiness is temporary. Joy can give you a whole different outlook on life. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because here's what I mean when I hear the word settling equals suffering. I think that people maybe did not understand the meaning of settling. And now, some of the things I have in my life that I've been able to have in my life, I think that looking at it, comparing what others have compared to what I have, I think some people have the financial ways of doing things better than me, better investments, making more money and the rest of it. I think for me, when I get something, a little bit of thing, it might just be a piece of land, it might just be anything that I got. The perception I have for it, yes, I want to grow, but at the same time, I need to understand that life itself is not just created for me. And the purpose of living is so that I can be of a blessing to other people as they have always been a blessing to me. And sometimes we might not understand all these statements. I believe if people were not so good to my parents and certain individuals did not take good care of my parents or never knew how to love or how to give, my parents wouldn't be alive to even have me as a child in the first place. So I think that in life, as much as God gives us things, if you can take care of the things that are being given to you by God, you need to also understand that there's a debt that we need to be able to pay. And that debt has to do with reaching out to others. Now, settling equals suffering. Sometimes when people use the word settling equals suffering, they mean you shouldn't settle for anything in life. You should always keep on going and keep on going and keep on going. But sometimes we do not recognize the negative side of such a statement saying that settling equals suffering. Because when you look at a lot of people, it is out of this same statement where we call settling equals suffering that people come up with the idea of, I would not settle for less. And trust me, that statement of saying I would not settle for less is not a problem in the first place. Never settle for less. But in the idea of never settling for less, now people look at their spouse and they say, I can't settle with this person, I know there's somebody there for me. And I will narrate a little bit of story on this particular conversation. There are a couple of stories I have, but I'm going to narrate one, for example. Now, while I was in Lekki, there was a lady I was dating at that time. So the lady I was dating, for me, any woman who I want to be with, I love to enhance her and make her capable and competent to be able to survive and do a lot of things on her own. So I took her after she was in what do we call it, Polytechnic. I actually told her, okay, it's good for you to learn how to work, have what we call handwork here. So I took her to a fashion designing place. So she was learning fashion design from a particular woman at that particular time. And while she was learning fashion design, I hope that's not the saliva of a snake that touched me. And while she was learning about the fashion design, I was paying attention to her and her boss. Now, our boss owned a very big shop. In fact, a couple of shops because they rented few. And she's married to a man. This man is the most gentle and one of the most quiet person I've ever seen in my life. And they have 3 children. 3 children, that's what they have. And this woman was doing well in her life. The man is the owner of the property, but he gives the woman the charge over all her property, all his property. So the woman is the one collecting the rent, and she has workers who work for her and the rest of it. But sometimes, occasionally, she might have a little bit of dispute with the man's family because the man's family are living somewhere close to the property. They also have their property. So he did not go very far from his family. And I understand that could be some situation. But then she started going to a church. And while she was going to a church, the pastor called her one day and said, I think you are not happy. And because you are not happy, I can see a vision for you. After a period of time, this lady, the woman is in her 40s. She's in her 40s at that time. She started receiving a call from one of her boyfriend when she was in secondary school, who is in the US. The boyfriend started calling this woman and starts talking to her. And then she told the guy that, oh, I am married. I already have 3 kids. I have my shop. I have everything I'm doing. And the guy started, guys know how to manipulate ladies sometimes. And the guy is saying, are you married? Are you really happy in the marriage? Are you really happy in the marriage? There's, I want to marry you and I want to marry you with your kids. And she said, oh, I can't marry you because I have kids. And the man was like convincing her, like, I want to marry you and I want to marry your kids. If you're not happy, my intention is to come to Nigeria and make you happy. And then it excites her. And she went back to the pastor. And the pastor says, yes, the Lord is saying that your real husband is in the US and is going to find you and is going to come back home. And so while this drama keeps going on, the lady got messed up one day. And then without misunderstanding with her husband, without anything, I think the guy told her he's coming back to Nigeria. This happened and I saw it with my own korokoro eyes. The man traveled and he came back to Nigeria. The woman took all her bags, took all her kids, and tell the man she's no more interested in the marriage. Nothing. No trouble, no fights, nothing. She just picked up her bags, leave her business, leave everything, and she took the children and she moved and she wants to go and meet the husband of her future. And then when the man finished having some time with her, Um, Truth Seeker says a snake spit is diabolical. Oh, yes, it can be. So, while she was with the man, after a couple of months, the man went back. He said he's coming, and he went back to the US and never returned. And he said, I just called you to have some good time. You can't expect me to take care of you and your children. In fact, maybe you kind of show me exactly who you are. How am I going to trust the fact that you are not going to do the same thing to me? Maybe it's because you know I'm richer than your husband. I have more wealth than your husband. That's the reason why. And we have seen the same damn playbook play in a lot of marriage, in a lot of lives, in a lot of people's life, day in, day out, day in, day out. I have seen a couple of people cheat on their husband cheat on their wife. People take each other for granted simply because they can't settle for less. They think that they are more than what they have been given by God in their life. And so they think they want more. And so they keep chasing a lot of things. And this woman right now, she is one of the most depressed people. I hope she's not dead by now because the frustration was so much. The same very beautiful woman that you would see, despite the fact she had 3 kids, she was so beautiful that she was very attractive. After the guy did the drama for her, her life did not remain the same. She became worse. You can see sometimes suffering can just change you and you look like an evil spirit. And that was the same woman that was so beautiful. And I keep asking myself a question. Do we really know what settling really means in today's world? Do we really have a clue what it means to settle? And every day we are being told, never settle for less, never settle for less, never settle for less, because you need to have more. Trust me. Some people who were living in Florida, and I'm not mocking them. I'm not mocking anybody. Please, my intention is not to mock anybody. My intention here is just to give us an insight. Some people that were in Florida, they might feel like, oh, I have to invest more and more and more and more within that particular environment. And something came and take up everything they've worked for, which is the storm, which is the hurricane and the rest of it. Sometimes a lot of us put too many importance to what we are doing, and sometimes we over-invest into what we don't need to over-invest in, rather than us to take whatever we have and ask ourselves, in life, when do we take a pause and do a deeper reflection in our life? Sometimes I always ask people this question. Do you think that marriage is a place for happiness? Marriage is not a place for happiness. In my opinion, marriage is a place for duties. Marriage is a duty, not a place where you want to be happy. And so when people say, do not settle for less and do not settle for this, do not settle for that, I'm like, do we also understand when we have to be appreciative of what we have, and knowing sometimes that it's not about settling, sometimes it's about growth. Sometimes it's not about we saying, oh, we can't settle for this, but we have to be able to look at it like, what are we growing with in the time of our life? There is a best way I can decide I don't want my children to have friends in their life. I don't need to preach it to them. I can give them a lifestyle that my children would not be able to have good friends in their life. And the best way to do it is to, since I have the options of different property, I can always say every 6 months, let I and my children move to a different location, move towards a different location, move towards a different location in search of what? Because we can't settle for less. Today we go to the US, tomorrow we come back to Nigeria, next time we go to Ikeja, next time we go to Lekki. Keep seeking more money, more money. We want to have the whole world. We keep searching for more. And then indirectly, we begin to destroy the life of those children or the personality that they cannot grow with other children to understand the importance of friendship. They cannot grow with other people. Why? When you decide to keep pursuing things, you can realize that for me, I have seen a couple of people who have traveled the whole world and they are single and they are depressed at the same time. They are single and they are depressed. And these people have money. They don't need to work for anything for the rest of their life. If they decide to work, it is just because it's an option. They don't have to work. But most of the time that they had in their life, they decided they don't want to settle with anybody in life. They decided no friend was good enough. So what they were doing was building wealth and accumulating and accumulating. And accumulation is not enough until they begin to lose energy and lose the desire to accumulate more. Because there's a level of things that you have in life. More things mean nothing to you. And if you do not spend your time right, or you do not spend your time with the right people to grow with the right people, how can you grow with the right people? There are people right here in my life, and in every community I find myself, I try to keep relationship with certain people that I see that they have good character. And the purpose is for us to know each other. And it does not have to do with your category. I'm not the kind of person, everybody knows me in my community. I'm not the kind of person who falls for what kind of thousands or millions anybody have. No. I do not choose friendship based off your intelligence. No. I choose friendship based off your character, based off your personality. And the purpose is this. There are days when things do not go fine. Sometimes, regardless of the fact that we can be spiritual, sometimes regardless of the fact that we would have community, sometimes regardless of the fact that you have family that loves you, sometimes all these things are going to play a role in your life. But you need to also understand that sometimes you will be in a position where you need to lean on somebody. And the person you have to lean on at that particular time, or you need somebody who is going to stay in the mud with you. And trust me, it might not be your wife. Your wife might not be the person you need at that time. Your children might not be the people you need at that time. Maybe the communities are not the old people you need at that time. Sometimes there are certain special individuals you need in your life. And I'll give you an example to it before I read some of the things that Annie and Rusty wrote. When I was in jail early this year, when I was in jail, I was communicating to one of my neighbors in the estate. I was talking to my wife every day. Every single day I was speaking to my wife. But I was having more communication with somebody in my neighborhood than I was having with my wife. The reason is basically because the more I speak to my wife for longer period, the more I begin to realize that she's trying to hold on and she's breaking inside of her. There are certain conversations I can't have with my wife because I understand that she is struggling with the fact of handling the children, handling her business, and thinking of her husband. In fact, my wife told me at some point, she said she wants to come to the prison. She wants to come see me in the prison. She wants to come pay me visit in the prison. I said, no. Don't come to the prison. Don't come pay me visit in the prison, because I knew if she sees me in the prison, her heart will be broken. But I had somebody at that time I could rely on, which is not my wife, which was not my sister. It was a neighbor. It was somebody who I have built strong relationship with. Sometimes in our life, we get to those particular positions. So we kind of forget the realities of life, that as we grow in life, there are phases to life and there are seasons of life. And if you did not build relationship intentionally build a relationship with certain individuals, knowing the purpose why you are building those relationships. Some people would say, no, when you build relationship, just build it because you want to build it. No, when I plant the apple tree, I knew it was an apple tree I was trying to plant. I knew at some season it's going to produce apples. When I give to people, I know at some point I would have things in abundance. I know at some point I would need the help of people. I may not receive the help as, okay, give me back with money or give me back with food. But sometimes I might find myself in situations where I need people. There are a couple of times where people in the estates, there were people in the estate where they have some issues. My car broke down. Their car broke down. And we have to meet with somebody. And for the sake of who I am to those people, they will give out their cars for me to carry those people to the hospital. If I haven't built a good relationship with these particular people, some people in my neighborhood would have been dead. So there's a purpose why we create all this relationship. Now, what am I saying? I'm not saying you should not pursue things in your life, but I am saying you should know how to retain things in your life. And retaining things in your life, it is not every aspect of your life we need to keep pursuing for change, and we say it's not enough. Sometimes contentment is a great blessing. Sometimes what you need in your life is to be contented with what you have, knowing fully well that what you have is sufficient enough for you because there's a purpose. You may think you can do better. You may think the woman is not good enough. You might think the man is not good enough. And so how have we built our society today? All in the name of we don't want to settle for less. But first time, the person we are with, the same person we fight right now, those person was once the most amazing people in our life. These are the people that we cherish sometimes in our life. But because of the situations of life, the seasons of life, certain things happen to us, and then we see the worst of those people. And then we say, oh, because we feel negative, because we feel hatred, because we feel boredom, because we feel loneliness, rather than us to understand that there's a season for us to gather. There's a season for us to be together. There's a season for us to hug and hold each other's hand. And there's a season for us to fight. When we do not understand this, whenever situations get bad, we move to the next relationship because we don't want to settle for less. We keep moving for things because we don't want to settle for less. And then we don't have enough in our life. And so at the end of the day, we lack a lot of things, regardless of the fact that we have too many financial things, too many materialistic things. But at the end of the day, a lot of us are going to feel lonely. Couple of messages. Rusty says, in the West, many people strive for more so they can give their children a good future. True. They don't want their children to struggle like they did. They will go from one job to 3 jobs to save money for college, fund, cars, house, etc. If my son saw me striving for more, it would give him more incentive to do good in life instead of just settling. If we don't push ourselves, our children will be less likely to even want to work. When we do settle for less, we are putting a value on ourselves, and that value is very low. I understand where Rusty is actually saying, what you're actually saying. I would always say strive for more. If you don't manage it, at least you tried your best and you show those around you that you tried. Yeah. You know, when we ask ourselves some questions, we have to look at it in different ways. Now, I've told people, and I always ask people certain questions. You said something about striving for more to teach the children to have more in life. And if, in fact, if you fail, yeah, you fail. I always ask people this question, and it's an interesting question. I always say, what has changed since the time of our ancestors and what has changed till now? What are the difference of our inventions and our creation? What has truly changed in the idea of humans at the moment? One of the things that a lot of people teach their children is how to work, how to keep achieving more, how to keep getting the highest mark. My wife knows me for one thing. Ever since my son started his school, it was only twice my son had second. He's always the first in his class. And every time they bring his results, my wife will say, why am I not rejoicing that my son carries first in class? And I tell my wife this, I am only interested in what the teacher wrote as a remark about my child, not about the result that my child have. I am more interested in the remark of the teacher towards my child, not the grade of my child in the school. Because why so many people teach their children how to make more and how to strive and get the whole, grade 1 and always be the first in the class? I teach my child more about character and more about relationship, more about spirituality, but more or less on relationship with people. And the reason why I use the word relationship, because out of relationship, you learn respect. Out of relationship, you learn love. Out of relationship, you learn trust. Out of relationship, you become man of your word. Out of relationship, when you promise, you do not fail. Out of relationship, you know when to keep to your words. Out of your relationship, people can trust you when you say something. I know, he said, sadly, a good life is the West is all about materialistic things. No. It is the definition where a lot of people have decided that it is materialistic things. Now, you can decide to separate yourself from the social mentality and give yourself a mentality of freedom. And freedom is what we are truly chasing, not material. The purpose of the money is so that you can have freedom. But how much money do you need for you to be completely free? Some people would have the whole world, will be able to buy jets, will be able to buy plane, yet it is not enough. Why? Because they think they are searching for success, but what they have become is addicted. Addiction to success is not freedom. Addiction to more money is not freedom. It is enslavement of the mind. And I'm not saying money is not important.
I'm just saying everything has its place in life. And I know the place of the things I need in life. There was a time some things were going on, and somebody told me, he said, "Can I send you $10,000?" I'm like, "Why do you want to give me $10,000? What have I done to deserve $10,000? Yes, I had some money with me. Yes, I wanted to do some stuff, but I do not think I have done anything to deserve the $10,000. Life, this same YouTube channel, this same YouTube I'm doing, someone wrote to me to give me $10,000. No, I said no. If you think I deserve a blessing or there's something you want to bless me with, you might ask, can I support you with something? But $10,000 for at that particular moment, I decided to know what's going on in your own life first. And I realized when I listened to the story of the person, I realized the person has a situation with their family, and they have some challenges with their family, and they've been able to attain certain success in life. And rather for them to settle back and go to their family and fix what is wrong, all they are trying to do is to make themselves feel happy. And that is the reason why they were willing to. You need to fix your relationship. You need to use this particular opportunity to take care of those people that you love. It wasn't my gift. It wasn't my place at that particular time to have that as a blessing. Yes, I might think as a pastor, if you bring $10,000, I will shout, praise the Lord, hallelujah. Yes, it is a blessing. No, I have to know, why do you want to give something so huge? Now to the person, $10,000 might not be anything to many people, but at that particular time, I needed to know the situation of the person's life. Now, if things were going fine in that person's life, and the person just said they wanted to appreciate me, I would have gladly accepted the $10,000. Rusty says, when you are mocked because you don't wear the nicest Nike trainers or have clothing not from a cheap store, you build an attitude of wanting more so the other kids don't mock you. Clothing from a cheap store. As mad as this sound, wanting more can be instilled into a child's mind because of other children. LOL. See, biologically, our body always wants something. So if I eat food right now, if I eat in the morning, it doesn't mean at night I would not feel hungry. No matter what I eat right now, I would get hungry. So no matter the water I drink right now, I would become thirsty. So biologically, even our body always wants something. But I can eat myself to death. I can eat myself to sickness. I can eat myself and have diabetics. I can eat myself and become obesity. I can eat myself to ruin my own life. At the same time, I can starve myself to death in the name of fasting, and I can ruin my life. But I have to, as a normal human being with their conscious mind, when I eat, I need to know when I'm satisfied. I need to know that whatever I've eaten is good for my body. I need to know when to stop eating. I need to know when the mineral I'm drinking is too much. I need to know when the water I'm taking is excess. All these things are in moderation. In the pursuit of success, some people do not understand the moderation and understanding that everything has its place in life. I always say something. When I had nothing and when I have something, both of this time, that time and this time are both the same. The difference is now I have children, now I have a wife, now I have family, now I can be a blessing to the community in a sense. During that time, I was still the same thing. So I was contented at that particular time in my life, knowing that I am striving to have something and understanding that there are little to what I can do in life. Yes, when I prepare myself, and the purpose of preparing myself is that when opportunity presents itself, I will be able to take that opportunity. But at the same time, I need to understand that when I have so much money and I have so much things in my life, there is a time I have to stabilize the things in my life, knowing that regardless of my desire in life, I do not have to chase everything I desire in my life. Just because I desire another wife or a beautiful girl does not mean I should go get married to the girl. Just because I desire a mansion does not mean that if I understand that the work of my hand is not enough to get me such a mansion, now I begin to strategize how to dupe somebody else or how to defraud another person just for me to get that particular mansion. A lot of people in life, when we are talking about material success, many of the people who have this material success did not get it in a clean way simply because they were pressured to make sure they have the most beautiful thing in life. So they do not care which person's life they are going to ruin just so that they get to that particular success. And then they ruin another person's life so that they can have more. And then they keep ruining people's life just so they can have. When is it going to be enough? That is the question. Is that freedom or is that addiction? And this is what brings greed in life. And how can there be love among people when there's so much greed among people? Just like you said, Rusty, you said the West is all about greed and gluttony. The wage divide and seeing others' success makes people want that others have, want what others have. I don't care if people drive Jeep, if people drive whatever. I remembered a couple of years ago, about 2 years ago, I wanted to get a car. I and my wife were thinking of getting a car. And then I asked myself a question, why do I need to buy this car at this particular time? I needed to invest more for my children and for the future of my children. Because I asked myself, do I really need a car at this particular time? Or am I trying to compete with other people so that everybody will say, yeah, as much as people are driving this kind of car, I also have to drive that kind of car. Enron says, and some parents spoil the kids rotten and they don't appreciate anything, and few people are obligated, not appreciative of anything or anyone. Me, mine's all about me, 1000%. Rusty says, before the Second World War, people were not enticed by industry with such extravagant lifestyle items like fast cars, expensive clothes, and mansions. Anyone asked me to preach it on. After the World War, England especially wanted to give the people luxurious stuff, knowing they couldn't afford it. This keeps people in a life of debt to companies. Absolutely. Absolutely. You see, I'm going to tell you one thing, and I'm going to be very completely honest with you. Before I came back live, I woke up this morning and I would have made a video. I realized, and I always tell you guys this, I always realize when my spirit is not aligned. As much as I am as a spiritual inclined person, sometimes I go out of tune of spirituality. I go out of tune of spirituality. And when I go out of tune, sometimes my body knows, or most times I know that I've been out of tune. Sometimes it has to do with the energy in the atmosphere. Even when things are going well in your life, sometimes you feel like things are not perfect. And then what I decided to do this morning was I keep on reflecting on my life and saying that even though I do not feel like doing much in my life, just by the ways of gratitude, of appreciating God for everything that I have been through in my life and where I am, my spirit is going to find its way back to the right spot. And that was before I came live and speak to you. Since morning, I went out early this morning. I came back. There are little farming stuff I wanted to work on and the rest of it. I came back and my spirit was disturbed. But initially, when I do not understand such state of mind that nothing was wrong with me, whenever I had those kind of feelings earlier, I would think that maybe what I need is to go out and go see some beautiful girls. Maybe what I need to do is to drink some beer. Maybe what I need to do is to find a party or go buy a clothes or go buy something or go do some shopping. We as humans have the ability to regulate our emotion. You can regulate your emotion, but you are not the creator of your emotion. Yes, they will tell you that your thoughts create an emotion, but sometimes you do not tell the five senses of your body what to see and what not to see, what to hear and what not to hear. Even if you are not paying attention, sometimes they can listen to things that you don't intentionally want to listen to, and then it can have an effect in your life. And sometimes your emotion comes out, and this is why people say we are emotional beings, and we are. And sometimes our emotions are low, sometimes the vibration is high. But when we understand the idea of contentment, knowing fully well that whatever we are feeling in this life or whatever we are experiencing, it is just a minuscule. We can regulate it when we have the basic understanding to know that all the problem of our life does not necessarily have to be with competing just to showcase and letting success give us happiness. And so when you understand the idea of contentment and abundance and being a blessing, you are not living under the idea of being happy. You are living in a state of mind that we call joy, and joy lasts for a long time. And so when I find myself in prison, I am happy. Yes, I'm not happy for the fact that I'm in prison, but I'm happy that I'm alive. I'm happy that this is an experience in my life that I'm going to tell my children, and I'm going to use it to better myself. I've told people these conversations over and over again. I wasn't happy that I went to prison. I wasn't happy when things go bad. Many things have gone bad. There's some of my property that I give out that I put, I think I've talked about it. I put some abokis, some of these Hausa Northerners there, because I see that they are oppressing them. And when I put those people there, they destroyed many of my viewing center where people watch football. They destroyed a lot of things there. Do I have the money to fix everything? No. I am trying to switch that place into something else. But I understood one thing, that yes, I gave these things to people and they destroyed it. But the way I was able to channel my mind is to understand that at least I was in a position to be a blessing to certain people. They, in their own mind, did not know how to manage what has been given to them. And I understand that I have to struggle to fix back these things. Some people would say, oh, it's a foolish thing for you to do that. No, I'm not going to give it back to them. But if I see somebody more qualified, because my lessons in it is to pick up those who are qualified to give things to, not just to give it to a random person. That was the lesson there, but it was also a lesson for me to understand that life can be a blessing. At least I did giving. Because trust me, I know many ways to make money, countless of ways to extort a lot of people. If I want to be an extortion guy, I would have extorted a lot of people. Whenever I'm making videos, you'll be seeing me in the biggest hotels in Nigeria. So sometimes some of us pretend like the work of our hands is enough to give us certain things. A lot of things in our life, the work of our hand might not be enough to give us exactly what we want. But because of the mentality, when we see opportunity to ruin another person's life and go scot-free and build the type of life we want, we take that opportunity. Why? Because we have had the mindset that everything we have to do is to always strive to be at the top. Regardless, certain people, their life is working fine. They are doing too many. In Africa, there are a lot of people who are succeeding, who have 4 houses, who have 3 houses, who have 5 houses. These people, in the name of they are not satisfied with what they have, they sold all their property and they went to the UK, they went to the Europe, and a couple of years later, they ruined their life. Any pay weekly companies made sure we are a slave to industrial oil, living beyond our means because we have the choice to pay little by little, but end up paying 3 times the total value instead of saving and buying the item at a regular price. Loan companies also make the West life beyond their means, always striving for more. Anyone say, come on now, Rusty, big fact. I say it all the time. You're about to make me start running. Yeah. So, let me not run my mouth too much. Time and season for everything. This was my intention to have this discussion, because a lot of things that a lot of us have in life, our work of our hand cannot go beyond a certain level. There is no barber, there is no hairstylist or barber on earth that can barb somebody and have the kind of properties that Michael Jackson had. Most of the musicians you see today, their music is not what is giving them the wealth that they have. Some of them are into drugs. Some of them are doing things that are not good to other humans. Let us remove the side of the law. Let us ask ourselves, is it moral? Is it destroying the soul of other people just because we want to attain success? How many people's life are we ruining just so that we can attain success? If what I am doing is going to ruin the life of other people, how do we call that success? So I actually opened a barbing salon. I have a barbing salon. Yeah, I have we have an event center and some things. I'm into farming. I'm into my YouTube stuff. I am into tracking. I work with the law enforcement. There are a couple of things. I have few properties where I get my rent from. I'm looking for more qualified things that I can do to raise my income. but not to ruin the life of other people. And I have the opportunity. I've been given offers right on YouTube, on this same YouTube. I've been able, oh, Lisa, thanks for joining. You came a little bit late. Right on this YouTube, I've seen too many offers on the YouTube space. I've received a lot of offers. There are couple of what do we call it? Couple of this industry on Instagram who has written to me to be an ambassador for jewelries and the rest of it. I did not accept it. This particular estate that I'm in, I was given offers not less than 6 times. And the purpose of these offers was to turn against the people in the community. My refusal of accepting the offer and making sure everybody benefits in the community was exactly what landed me in jail. If I had taken that offer, by now I would have bought more couple of houses. By now my children will be having more couple of better life. The other day, I made a video outside where they fenced all my property, I had 8 shops I built outside the estate there, and they fenced all my property, all because I refuse to work with them. So some people would be asking, am I not fool? Am I not a foolish person? In fact, when I went to the police, some of law enforcement, when they first of all came to arrest me, some of the law enforcement told me that I was a fool. That what I should have done is to just take the property and be making my money and just be silent. I'm like, silence? I didn't say anything to them, but at least they tell me exactly who they are. So I should have been silent and keep ruining the life. And you actually, these same people are the law enforcement. These same people are the people who are supposed to uphold the law of the nation, advising me that let me plead with the organization, let them settle the issue with the organization, and they will give me certain things. Let us solve the things on the ground. Am I happy with my situation? Of the things I have at the moment and the things I've lost in the idea of fighting them? No. But I think every time I go to bed and I sleep, I do not have it in mind any night that one day these people would say that I threw the community under a bus just because I was the first person who moved in and I had opportunity. When I was in jail, few people in the communities were reaching out with my wife. They keep on checking on her and doing the rest of it because they knew I was fighting solely for the purpose of the community. And so we have used success, money, to belittle our understanding of humanity. And we think, oh, let's just keep chasing money and chasing money. Material after material. And I'm not saying you should settle, but I'm asking you, are you better than that thing? And do you think the works of your hand can give you exactly what you want? If the work of your hand cannot provide or produce what you want, hope you are not taking shortcuts. Hope you are not going into an immoral thing just to please yourself for your own pleasure. And trust me, the same way our body will keep getting hungry, the same way our desires would never end. And I understand the limitation of when I'm supposed to please my desire. At some point, I do not have to please my desire, because if I please my desire every time I desire something, I will ruin my life and I will ruin the future of my children's life and I will ruin everything that God has given to me. It is not a curse. It is the truth. It is a principle of life. One of the richest people in Nigeria, they call the man MKO Abiola. He have over 20 wives. He have a couple of children, over 30 children. He's one of the most richest person. You think Dangote is rich? Ask of MKO Abiola. Type it on your Google and see how wealthy this man is. Now look at this man and look at what is going on. His children are now grown up, 40 years, 45, 50 years old. And go on podcast and see how the children are fighting each other. If possible, if they can kill each other. All because of their father's wealth. Why? Because some have learned to be greedy. If it doesn't happen now, trust me, the next generation that is coming, they will ruin everything that man ever had. Why? It is not about the success. It's about understanding. You see, certain people would be blessed in life and they will have certain opportunities in their life. Opportunity will present itself. I prepare myself for every opportunity that God will give to me. But it is not the opportunity that will ruin another person's life for me to get blessed. I wouldn't see that as an opportunity. That's not an opportunity to me. In a nutshell, I appreciate you. This is over 1 hour of me talking. I appreciate everyone for joining me today. Hopefully, we would maybe have conversations this night or some other time. Henry Rose says, welcome, Sister Lisa. My goodness, but you are a wise man. God will increase your territory and bless you and your family abundantly. Amen. 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 So, you know, the Bible said something. It says, a good name is better than silver and gold. And some people do not understand the meaning of that thing. Silver and gold last longer than human being. Silver and gold last longer than human being. But at the end of the day, silver and gold, they all come to an end. But a good name can last a lifetime and more life to come after you and will last more than that gold. Because gold can reduce in value, gold can increase in value, but a good name, the value always increase as time goes on if that name is not tarnished. That is what the Bible meant when it says a good name is better than silver and gold. So some people will say, I would rather choose gold than a good name. It is because you are short-sighted and you are greedy and you are only thinking of yourself at the moment and your children, not understanding that a name can go 10 generations from now on, 20 generations to come. I know I've not been able to break it down enough, but some other time I will do that. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do subscribe to the channel, like, share, support. I appreciate you all for joining me today. Miss Lisa, you came a little bit late. Probably when you have time, you can actually go back. Yeah. So probably by, this is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay, by Sunday, we would dive deeper into this conversation. Thank you all. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your support. Hope to speak to you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye-bye for now. Peace out.